Broads Media.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Broads. Hassan Reddick is choke slamming people out of the second half. Dude, Nolan Smith gets a sack. How about Jordan Davis? Josh Sweat is a monster. This defensive line, the Miami Dolphins could not run the football. You force them to be one-dimensional. And you're doing this with Eli Ricks, Gardner, Josiah Scott. All right, you're extremely banged up, and they did a hell of a job. Sean Desai with a masterful performance. That dude's firing me up on the sideline, celebrating with the entire team after a big-time play. The defense was outrageous. And yeah, you know what? There's a problem right now with the few areas with this football team, and the one is Jalen Hurts turning the football over, and the other is still red zone, because I despise, and I mean despise, what I saw in the opening scripted plays once they got down towards the end zone. We're seeing the trash keepers from Jalen Hurts once again. It's problematic, but I do know this. This is why I'm so damn happy and I'm so pumped up, because when it's money time, Jalen Hurts is there. The drive after the pick six was beautiful. You go score 7. It's not 3 and out, and then you punt the football back to them, putting your defense on their heels. No. It's let's go, punch it in, and go score back, and he's making sensational plays. He did have some greatness involved, rolling to his right after we thought that there was a problem with his ankle because he slows down towards the left side of the staying in bounds there, and he hobbles, he limps. He rolls to his right, hits A.J. Brown with the ridiculous, and I mean ridiculous pass, and even the final pass to A.J., my God, what the hell, that was perfect, and even for A.J. to complete it is otherworldly. This team, when they need to do something important, they do something important. A 6-minute and 35-second drive, 13 plays, 83 yards, goes for it on 4th down. Great decision by Nick Sirianni. They put up the graphic on the broadcast there. Well, it's a 2% difference if you punt it or if you go for it. No! Milk the clock. Put them in misery so they know as they're sitting there waiting to get the ball back, damn it, they're doing it again, aren't they? Damn it, the Eagles are doing what makes them special again, aren't they? They're keeping us on the sidelines frustrated as hell. This defensive line completely destroyed the opposition, and you could say all you want that they were working with some backups on their offensive line and their secondary was hurt, and you also factored in that Waddle had the back injury, left the game for a little bit. I don't want to hear any excuses whatsoever, because look what we're dealing with on our defensive side of the football. Edmonds is a backup. Sidney Brown is a rookie and a backup. Josiah Scott and Eli Ricks, these guys, and I'm not trying to make it seem like Eli Ricks is a nobody, because he stepped in and did do a decent job, but if we're looking at what the projection of this team was supposed to be, that's Avonte Maddox. You know what I mean? Reed Blankenship being a leader in the secondary and a safety, it's a lot different than what Sean Desai is working with, and he's excelling beautifully. He's the complete opposite of Brian Johnson in the red zone. This dude's creative as hell. He's willing to get unique and throw different looks, and it's fantastic. I love me some Sean Desai. And what I'm not going to do, which I heard a lot of Eagles fans doing this prior to kickoff, and I understand you're looking for reasons why you think the Eagles will win, and you go with the narrative that the Dolphins didn't beat anybody good. And when they played the Buffalo Bills, that was a loss, and they looked more like a reasonable team. And I'm not going to say that the Miami Dolphins are trash and they can't beat anybody good. I'm not saying that. No, I think the Dolphins are a good team in the NFL. Now, the difference maybe between this year and in years past, if you're looking at a scale 1 through 10, and you say, okay, what teams can win the Super Bowl? And some teams pop off the page on a 1 to 10 scale, and they're sitting on their island by themselves at a 15. It's like, that team's the juggernaut. That team is the team with the crosshairs on their back because they are so lethal. Everyone's chasing them down, and they have that it factor. I don't think there's a team that stands out so far ahead as everybody else, but the Dolphins do have two, and they do have a creative coach. They have Tyreek Hill. When healthy, they do have some cornerbacks that are great playmakers. They're a good team. And the reason why I'm not shooting the Miami Dolphins down after this one is because what I think that does is I think that diminishes the Philadelphia Eagles in your eyes. You're not giving the Eagles enough credit. The Eagles are a damn good football team, and they just beat a damn good football team. You saying the Dolphins are bad now means that it's a less impressive win. No, this is a very impressive win. And when you needed plays to be made, your playmakers made plays. Darius Slay with an interception. The fact that your offense did their job after that is so important, considering when Jalen threw a pick six, when Jalen fumbled the ball early, which was brutal pocket awareness, he needs to clean that up big time, and Jalen has to improve. There's no doubt that he cannot continue to put this team in bad positions because of making mental mistakes and not doing the proper things out there. That's on Jalen. What I love about his DNA and his makeup, and not everybody has that, is he can put it right behind him and then do insanely powerful things out there and carry his team to a victory and put together a sustained drive, hit Dallas Goedert nicely. And if you're an opposing team, do you want to get out in front of Jordan Mailata? Because on that pass, which was an excellent play call for what the Miami Dolphins were throwing your way, to get the lead block there, I wouldn't want to get in front of him. You know, this offensive line wears you down. And it's funny because the one sack that Lane Johnson allows in 2-3 years? The last time was week 11 in 2020. That was the last time Lane Johnson allowed a sack. And, you know, he's injured right now, so I think that plays a role. But even last year and in recent years, he was dealing with all sorts of injuries, and he still wasn't giving up any sacks. It was bound to happen, I guess. I guess the streak eventually will end, and you got a dope flapping his arms. Yeah, well, guess what? We got the last laugh, and there's a reason why Lane Johnson's flexing his damn muscles when they get down towards the end zone after the big bomb to A.J. Brown. Who's stopping A.J. Brown? Who's stopping this dude? Another game, another week, another 100-plus yards. The guy's ridiculous, and the fact that he's doing his thing while you're also getting Dallas Goedert more established in this offense, there are pieces to be positive about, and I know it's easy to start focusing on the things you didn't like, and the pick six was bad, and quite frankly, maybe that was the football gods, because James Bradbury got away with one, and that should have been a flag, it should have been a face mask, defensive pass interference, whatever it was, but then whatever, you get the pick six handed to you, and I guess the football gods evened everything out. The Dolphins played undisciplined football, though, and, I guess the only call that I thought was atrocious for Miami was the roughing the passer. That was not a roughing the passer whatsoever. Now, I'll take it. All right? I'll take what's given to me. But if we're being 100% honest with ourselves, that's trash. That's trash. But there was a lot of lined up offsides. Well, it is what it is. Now, one thing that bothers me to no end is when you call a flag on the Philadelphia Eagles when they're lined up properly for the brotherly shove, and you can't get the people's eyeballs who are paid to call the plays correctly. They can't figure out whose arm is next to the ball. They can't figure out that that's Jason Kelsey lined up over the football. The center, the guy whose job is to snap the football, you are somehow mismanaging your eyeballs and seeing the wrong thing. Everyone bitches around the league because they're so salty that they can't stop this or they can't figure out why their team can't excel at it. I'll tell you why. You don't have Jalen Hurts and Jason Kelsey and everybody else that this team has in the trenches. That's it. It's that simple. You don't have to do any more research. I should be hired by the National Football League, and I'll go speak to every team. and I'll stand in front of their team, and I'll stand in front of their head coaches and their staff and everybody in their front office, and I'll have a huge presentation. And I'll say, all right, do you guys want to know why you can't do the brotherly shove? Let me get my red laser here and let me start my PowerPoint presentation. You don't have Jalen Hurts and Jason Kelsey and Jeff Stoutland. Thank you, everybody, for your time. I will take Venmo. Come on. This team wasn't going to lose in South Philly when it was the Kelly Green game. Fresh as hell, dude. So much swag out there. First off, Devontae Smith walking in to the building today was money, and so was Jalen Hurts. We got a team filled with swag. That's for damn sure. On the field, off the field, you name it. You know what else has swag? My bookie. My bookie's filled with swag. You should join the My Bookie family because, well, quite frankly, it's the greatest family in the world when placing your bets each week. We have the Philadelphia Phillies coming up looking to secure a World Series. You're a fool if you're not joining me and putting money down on your fight-ins. When your money's on the line, choose a trusted sports book that gives you tools to win like MyBookie. At MyBookie, it doesn't matter if your team is up or down. You can easily cash out or bet the game live to come out on the winning side. Use MyBookie for daily odds boosts, same-game parlays, and take advantage of huge prize pool contests. Plus, MyBookie has no strings attached cash bonus that lets you deposit and withdraw quickly. Use promo code BROADS right now on your first deposit, and you can receive up to $200 in cash for free. They have MyBookie money bags, too, where you can grab potential Super Bowl frontrunners at long shot odds, like plus 38,000 on Eagles Chiefs. All right, you won't find odds like that anywhere else. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. Only with MyBookie. Make sure you check the link down below in the description. It will forward you to where you need to be to sign up with my code. And I want to see if I got anything from Nick Sirianni post-game here as he's speaking to the media now. He said that Nick Sirianni says he wouldn't say what Jalen Hurts is going through. He's tough. Yeah, no, Jalen Hurts is battling injuries for sure. I saw the limp. The limp was real. And whether we have a debate on what beat reporter saw what and who's wearing a brace, or not who's wearing a brace, they're claiming he was wearing a brace. Some are saying he wasn't wearing a brace. Whatever. You could tell by the way that he was moving that he was battling some pain. But this is what winners do. This is what you do when you are wired the way Jalen Hurts is wired. Nothing will stop you. And it's funny because I said something similar on my post-game Bleacher Report stream. I went live on the app as soon as the game was over and did a 15, 20-minute hit real quick before this show. And there were Jets fans who were commenting in the comments saying, oh, yeah, say that to the Jets. And they were just, for some reason, they felt today, after the Birds just won to improve the 6-1, beat a team that was supposed to be a part of the, quote, scary gauntlet. The Eagles are great, and they will beat teams on this gauntlet. The Bills just lost to Mac Jones in New England. They are not some juggernaut that you can't beat. The Eagles can beat these teams, and I'm just in love with the fact that however it goes, they make sure plays are made when it's clutch time. You need that gene if you'll be successful. And also, say what you want about maybe some of the drives and the red zone. I'm not claiming there's no areas to clean up. Red zone turnovers, red zone turnovers, red zone turnovers. Those are the most two important things that I'm studying the rest of the way. Red zone turnovers, red zone turnovers. Is that clear? Red zone turnovers. Man, I couldn't stand some of the stuff I was seeing, whether it's Gainwell, whether it's Jalen Hurts keeper, settling for 3 is a disgrace when you look as good as you do to open up the game. They open up games so well. I love the scripted plays. I love the way they set the tone a little bit. I really do. And then they get close to the end zone and they fall apart early and the heavy boos rain down as they should. And I want to point the finger to Nick Sirianni, whether he's calling plays or it's Brian Johnson, and we all think it's Brian Johnson, whatever it is between this offensive trio of Hurts, Sirianni, and Brian Johnson. If Sirianni wants to take the role of I'm the CEO and I'll overlook my entire staff and my entire team and special teams DC, I'll be more of the head of it, and then you guys do what you want below me as DC and OC. Well, if it's this tragic and it's this terrible and it's this annoying, then at some point, while I'm angry at Brian Johnson because, yo, dude, can't you reflect? Can't you look in the mirror and watch the film and study the tape and see that this is just terrible football week in and week out in the red zone? When does Nick Sirianni step in and say, I'm the head coach? This is not going to cut it. Is that not part of how he wants to operate because he doesn't want to step on anyone's toes? I just think the head coach has to step in at some rate. Or this is the head coach, and that's problematic because now two people are looking at it, and they both don't see it as a big deal. So, once again, red zone, turnovers. Red zone, turnovers. But while that's the negative, I could go on for hours about the positive. I could go on for hours about 7, 8, 9-minute drives, scoring touchdowns when it's tied after you just made a crucial mistake, driving your team downfield. And oh, by the way, this defensive front is a monster. Hassan Reddick actually, I'm not just saying this, he actually chokeslammed somebody right after the first half ended. Chokeslammed him into the ground. He was everywhere. Please, one more time, Miami, I beg you to put a tight end on him. How do you not see that coming? Seriously. You will not block Hassan Reddick like that. Honestly, you can't do anything to stop Hassan Reddick. The guy's on a different planet right now. So is Jalen Carter. And he's also, I'm going to give him a round of applause real quick. He's also figured out how to win an Oscar. Because this dude, after he does something that I will admit was pretty stupid, and he puts his hands up in the face of a Miami Dolphin, where he got hit back, my man fell over like a damn statue. He watches the NBA. Okay, that guy watches Pat Beverly. That guy watches LeBron. That guy watches all the top echelon NBA guys on a Wednesday ESPN broadcast because, wow, what a faker. But hey, you got to learn the league. You got to learn the league. That played into the stupidity of Miami with all their costly penalties because what they did was they set themselves back so much. The reason why the score was what it was less about the Dolphins really making special plays. And, look, there were a couple of third down calls that I would like to have back. 3rd and 18's a backbreaker. And when they're playing the Rocky music and the bells are going and people in the front row are banging and they're banging on the stands there. And a 3rd and 18 happens and then the whole entire building, you can hear the sigh in disbelief. And 3rd and 12 and 3rd and long. Please, what are we doing? I'm not going to discredit them. There were some nice throws made. A few were really strong throws. Tua almost got intercepted by Bradbury. That would have been a pick six, but it threads the needle by half of a second. But you could also say that there was a play on one of those important drives where Jalen Hurts tried to throw it to Zacchaeus super quickly. It was low. It was behind him. It hit off of his foot, it went up into the air, and it was super close to maybe being intercepted. That type of stuff happens all the time. My point is, a half an inch here and there, that could be the difference in major plays happening, but that's all sports. You could be a fastball pitcher who throws a fastball over the heart of the plate. I don't know why I said fastball pitcher like that, and I don't even like where this is going, so let me rephrase this. You could be a pitcher, all right, and you could throw an off-speed pitch that doesn't slide, a slider that doesn't slide, it hangs over the heart of the plate, but the hitter fouls it back, and they know they screwed up, and they know they missed. It's a game inches all over the place. That stuff happens. Tua made some nice plays, but a lot of this stems from the Eagles doing something wrong throughout this victory that made the score closer than what it was. The fumble, like, dude, that's on Jalen, man. That's on Jalen more than it is the Miami Dolphins. That's the lack of pocket awareness by Jalen. That's on Jalen. That's on Jalen. Come on, Jalen. And the pick six, that's on Jalen. We got to be smarter. Come on, Jalen. So I'm just saying, like, come on. Come on, Jalen. The way this team thrives, though, when they get rolling in the trenches, that's legit. That's, I'm making a deep Super Bowl push type of things. And that's why I have as much optimism as I do. Because one of the responses to my tweet about the gauntlet coming up, and I'll read it to you verbatim just so you can get a sense of how this back and forth went. But I said, this is why I always crack up when people are scared of the scheduled gauntlet. I get it, but the Eagles will win plenty of games during said gauntlet. They're great. And then the response was, what in the world did you watch that leaves you feeling good? A 6-1 football team. Watching a 6-1 football team. They're 7 games in. They're 6-1. I don't see other teams doing this on a night-to-night basis. The Dolphins are a good football team. They are a good football team. Well, what are they now? They're 5-2. They're a good football team. The Bills are a good football team. The Chiefs are a good football team. These are the good football teams in the NFL. The Eagles are one of them. They're one of the best football teams in the National Football League. That's what I saw. I saw a defensive line that will scare people to death. I saw a quarterback who is injured right now, and I do think that that's something that concerns me a little bit. We'll see how this progresses throughout the rest of the way here, but I see a team led by a quarterback that when it's needed, the dude shines. Okay? The dude shines. So I want to see if there's anything else from Nick Sirianni before we head over to the phone lines. Nick Sirianni talked about making them one-dimensional. I said that earlier on. They could not run the ball. So when they can't run the ball, you have to throw it nonstop. And it's 3rd and short. Maybe in other games they would run that for the first down. Well, they become afraid. And now you force it to be 4th down where they go for it or punt it. You're making them play a game that they're not accustomed to playing. They tried to widen out the field. They got some things going for a little bit, like Mostert, for example. I have to hear that on his notepad, he's got the date that he was cut by the Eagles. That's cute. I want you to put the date that you got your ass kicked by the Eagles, too. I just want to see if you remember that for years to come, too. I just want you to do that, please. If you're going to have it on one side, at least have it on the other side so you remember the beatdown and the absolute ass whooping by the Kelly Green Eagles. It's the only thing that's fair, please. I'm just asking for it to be fair. I guess Jason Kelsey was asked about the whole left arm and compared to Landon Dickerson on the offensive offside penalty. Oh, man. Darius Slay with the interception. I love it. 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 That was such a big play by Nick Sirianni. By Darius Slay. Could you imagine Nick Sirianni in the secondary? All right, let's take some phone calls. Let's do that. You're more important than me. Trust me. Trust me. I guarantee you. Let's do it.
It's a big win, bro. It's really big win. I mean, coming off that ugly loss, a lot of question marks around the defense and the injuries, but hey, the offense puts up a lot of points against a pretty damn good defense, and the story is the defense. I mean, incredible throughout the game. That defensive front looks strong now that it's whole again, and, you know, a lot of young guys back there making plays. Obviously, it's not perfect, but on the other hand, it's hard to be perfect against a guy like Tyreek Hill, so they did an incredible game, and, yeah, it looks great. Go Birds.
Think about this. Before the game began, if I told you Eli Ricks and Josiah Scott is back from the dead, here comes Josiah Scott lacing him up in a Kelly Green uniform. I can't believe it. Gardner's here. Reed Blankenship's injured. Sidney Brown, he's coming off of an injury. All this stuff. This is what you're working with. Edmonds, and you're facing Tyreek Hill and Tua. There's probably some worry there. And I think all around, no matter how many yards Tyreek Hill ended up snagging, I don't even know what it is, and I don't even care because I thought they kept them in check for the most part. You only try and limit them. You don't stop them fully. And that's why some of those 3rd and longs with a makeshift secondary. But one of the things that I brought up before this game happened was when asked about the secondary, the moral of the story for me was, it doesn't matter to me if it's Sidney Brown or Edmonds. It doesn't matter to me if it's Roby or Avonte Maddox or Josiah Scott or Eli Ricks. If your front gets home, it's over. That's how you dominate games with this team. So I don't want to downplay how much it helps to have a healthy secondary, right? Because, yes, you are more limited now. But if you eat up front, then the rest is easy. Everything else falls into place. You have to dare Tua to make these plays under pressure nonstop every snap, especially if you're stopping the run too. Nolan Smith gets a sack. Phenomenal to see him in there. Josh Sweat and Hassan were everywhere. Jalen Carter is a man. He's actually not, though. He's a little boy, but he's a man. Wait till he's actually a man. He's a little boy looking like a man. Good luck. Good luck. Now, what was Tyreek Hill's ending? 88 yards. 88. You want to hear AJ's? I'll give you AJ's. Give you AJ's. Hold on. Started playing a highlight package. I'm sorry. I'm just sitting over here watching a bunch of highlights. 137 yards. Was anybody afraid when Devontae Smith, though, had that drop in the beginning? Was it the first or second series? There were two defenders on him that brought him to the ground, and I thought for maybe a half a second he was still going to bring it in, but unfortunately he did drop in. I think the ball ended up going out of bounds afterwards anyway. But, yeah, I'm like, oh, no, not another Devontae day like that. Coming off of the bad drop last week. Really? Something's off. But then there was that goofy play where the ball gets deflected. It's up in the air. Devontae saves it from being a possible disaster. And then ultimately, it became the Dallas Goedert show along with the A.J. Brown show. Julio got a reception in there. And Swift with some nasty, gnarly cuts. He plants his foot and he's breaking ankles. Woo! Put him on ice skates.
Now, that's probably the most impressive win of the season for the Philadelphia Eagles. Defensively, for how banged up they were, they held one of the best offenses in football to only 10 points on the offensive side. Yeah, the pick six happened, but still, that's got to be a major accomplishment for Sean Desai because he's been doing incredible things with so little that he has to work with on the defensive side of the ball. Jalen Hurts probably one of his more efficient games. He got better as the game went along. He still made some few mistakes, still some sloppiness that I'm sure he'll work out. The fumbles, the bad interception that he allowed, but still made some really impressive throws when he needed to, made some impressive runs when he needed to. Defensively, you made stops, you got sacks. That's, going to happen all the time with this defensive front. A.J. Brown with another amazing game. And hey, you moved to 6-1. That's the most important thing. And starting this very heavy gauntlet of a schedule with a win. This Eagles team is good. They are good. We need to remember that. They still haven't played their best football. Even though this is a good start to it, they started off the gauntlet with a win.
6-1, and they're still not playing sharp. 6-1, and they're still not playing sharp. Wait till they play sharp. That's my message. That's how I'm viewing this. People talk all the time about you don't want to hit your stride too early. They haven't really hit their stride yet, I'd say. 6-1. You know how hard it is to not play your best football and be 6-1? I like leaning on DeAndre Swift more. I do. I'm starting to wonder with the Kenneth Gainwell experience, would it hurt to get Penny some looks? Would it hurt to get Boston Scott some looks? He had a nice return, Boston Scott did, on one of the kickoffs, which was great to see. Set the team up with a better field position. I'm always a believer of, well, there's a reason why player X, Y, and Z isn't getting the nod. They have way more information on that guy than we do. They see them at practice way more than we do. At the same time, the Jordan Howard experience and a lot of this other stuff, the Travis Fulgham thing, even though he was a one-hit wonder, a couple-week wonder more than anything else, there's guys on practice squads and there's guys that get buried that whenever they get their opportunity, they do some awesome things. So I'm not going to rule out Penny or rule out Boston Scott just because they see them. People make mistakes all the time. So I don't know. I just don't get the Kenneth Gainwell thing. But I do get Tick Pick TickPick is the best. Listen to me, the best place to buy your tickets. And what if I told you I can give you free money? You get $10 off when you utilize promo code BROAD. Click in the link down below in the description at TickPick. And the best part about them is the best price guarantee. Their ticket prices will beat any of the major competing marketplaces. They're so confident that they guaranteed it. If you find the same seats elsewhere at a better price than TickPick, they'll give you 110% of the price difference in form of TickPick credits. And there's also upfront pricing. So no more doing the math in your head to prepare for how much extra you plan on spending on top of the listed price on other sites. The price you see at TickPick is the price you'll pay at checkout, period. And I've addressed this on the last few episodes that I have a family member, their birthday's coming up. I bought them tickets to an upcoming Flyers game, and it's so easy, it's so simple, it's so clean, it's so smooth. It was just the nicest way to buy tickets. We've all used plenty of other platforms before, plenty of platforms out there. This was so incredibly nice and easy, and they're the tickets, and it's bang right there for you. I loved it. I ain't going to use anything else. Promo code BROADS. Make sure you join me. $10 off your next purchase. Do it right now. And, okay, we're at the 30-minute mark. I've been going long lately with myself, and I feel bad because I do love listening to everybody calling in. But we'll wrap some things up here. I love you guys to death. 6-1. I don't want you guys to forget that as we end the show here. 6-1. Love you guys to death. We'll be talking soon. I'll see you on the next one.